appearances, beginning with the state.
Your Honor, Michael Pelsman for the state.
All right, who's here for the defense?
Mary Jane Cooper for the Office of the Public Defender.
Thank you. Who's here for pretrial release?
Officer Pat Hill on behalf of PTR.
Thank you. Folks in the room, the purpose of today's proceeding is to appoint counsel. I'm appointing the Office of the Public Defender to represent everyone who is not appointed by private counsel today. You have the right to remain silent. I urge everyone to exercise that right. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a future proceeding. I'm going to advise you of the nature of the charges against you and, if appropriate, set conditions of release. That may be a bond, that may be pretrial release, it may be something else. If you are here pursuant to a warrant signed by another judge, which set bond, it is unlikely I will modify that bond conditions. And I will determine whether or not there is probable cause for any new charges that have been filed. When I call your name, please step forward. Catherine Alexander. Oh, okay. Well, if we have a Spanish, I'll take it in the house. Okay. Is this a Spanish?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's take care of this one. I need to know if you have any that firearm purpose.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Alexander, you're charged with driving a vehicle. I review the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charge. My understanding is you qualify as direct PTR.
No objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to release you under direct PTR conditions.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are we going to need a Spanish interpreter for anybody today? If so, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Duban Arazo, Osorio Chavez, and Zapata Pagan.
Lasso, Chavez, and Pagan.
Rios.
And Juan Rios Diaz.
We have 3 out of 4. So who am I missing? Where's Arasso? He has 2 last names. All right, I've got Osorio Chavez, Zapata Pagan, and who else? And Rios Diaz. These are Spanish? Yep. Cosima Sedano. And if I didn't say it at the beginning, I think I did that. I appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery, unlawful touching and striking, domestic in nature. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charges. Pre-trial release, my making sure that you have not yet made contact with the alleged victim. Has anything changed?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then I'm going to set bond at $1,000, order that there be no contact with the alleged victim. If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement to gather your personal possessions.
Your Honor, I was just going to ask if we could request no hostile contact due to the fact that Ms. Sedano is the biological sister of the alleged victim, Sarah Sedano.
Not until we have contact with her and we have an opportunity to determine the level of concern.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that may be modified down the road. I'm not prepared to do it today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Charles Collado. Mr. Collado, you're here pursuant to a warrant issued out of Broward County for Grand Theft Auto. That warrant set your bond at $1,000.
You can sit.
Harry Hendry. Sir, you're here based upon arrest for obstructing an officer without violence and trespass after warning. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's probable cause for the charges. I'm told you qualify for direct PCR, so I'm going to order your release under direct PCR conditions with the additional criteria that I'm not going to add any additional criteria at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Yisel Hudson Lopez.
Your Honor, he bonded.
Thank you.
Nieves also.
All right. Gabriel Oquendo. Mr. Oquendo, you are charged with fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer with lights and sirens at a high rate of speed. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $10,000.
Your Honor, Mary Jane Cooper from the Office of the Public Defender, I would just ask if there's a lower bond or if he might qualify for PTR. As far as I know, the defendant does have a non-extradition warrant for a simple traffic infraction out of Pennsylvania, but outside of that, no pending criminal history, and the defendant is just young, and $10,000 would be tantamount to no bond.
How old is your client?
23 years old.
Mr. Oquendo not only eluded officers at a high rate of speed on a black moped, but managed at some point to ditch the moped and move over to a white dirt bike. Given his history, which is slight, he does not qualify for PTR, but given his history, I will reduce the bond to $5,000. There's no failures to appear in his history. I'm not going lower.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Belkis Yen.
She bonded prior.
Oh, thank you. Gregory Yusoff. Sir, you're charged with burglary to an unoccupied vehicle unarmed. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. You do qualify for direct PTR, so I'm going to order that in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
My understanding is the last four require Spanish interpreter. Let me get them on the line now.
This is Theodore Leal, Spanish interpreter. The interpreter not been sworn yet, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is Judge Schreiber, and we are addressing the Osceola cases, of which we have four. Madam Clerk, did you swear the interpreter?
Do you solemnly swear to translate from Spanish to English, from English to Spanish, the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Theodore Leal, certified court interpreter for the record.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is this Mr. Ludwig Dubon Arazo?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
All right. The interpreter, let me ask, do y'all have headphones in Osceola, or are we pausing the
Stop over the speakers, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. Mr. Dubon Arazo, you're charged with one count of battery, simple touching or striking.
Señor Arazo, usted tiene un cargo de agresión física, simple contacto físico o golpear,
Domestic and
de violencia intrafamiliar.
I reviewed the charging affidavit,
Ya yo revisé el escrito acusatorio
and I do find there is
y veo que hay indicios de culpabilidad por este cargo.
bond is set at $500.
La fianza que se le otorga de $500 con la condición de que no tenga ningún tipo de contacto con la víctima que aparece en el escrito acusatorio.
If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement to gather
Si usted tiene que volver para recoger sus efectos personales, tiene que hacerlo en compañía de un oficial de la fuerza pública una sola vez.
And
Your Honor.
Counsel, my understanding is there's an outstanding warrant from ICE in this case.
Yes, Your Honor, there is.
¿Hay una orden de arresto de parte del Departamento de Inmigración en este caso? Sí, su señoría, hay una orden.
Anything else?
Your Honor, I just wanted to put on the record 2132 Avon Boulevard in Kissimmee is the home of Mr. Dubon Arazo and his mother.
Quiero poner en la costa en las actas que el 2132 del Boulevard Avon es la residencia del señor Arazo y de su madre.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Algo más, no, su señoría.
Jose Osorio Chavez.
Señor, tiene un cargo que se le imputa de agresión física, de tipo de violencia intrafamiliar. Eso incluye tocar o hacer contacto físico o golpear. Ya yo revisé el escrito acusatorio y determino que hay indicios de culpabilidad en esta causa.
Bond is set at $500.
Se otorga fianza de $500 con la condición de que no tenga ningún tipo de contacto con la víctima señalada.
It doesn't appear that you
No parece que viven juntos, pero en el caso de que sí vivan juntos y tiene que ir a recoger efectos personales, puede volver una sola vez en compañía de la fuerza pública.
And I believe there's an hold for this case as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Creo que también tiene otro caso. Sí, su señoría.
You may be seated.
Puede sentarse.
Next case is Juan Rios Diaz. Counsel, if you could move that button. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, you're charged with trespass on property, not a structure or conveyance.
Señor, usted se le acusa de acceder ilegalmente a una propiedad que no es estructura ni es vehículo.
And I have appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Y ya he designado a la oficina de la Defensoría Pública para que lo represente.
And you do qualify for direct PTR, and that's what I'm ordering.
Y usted sí califica para que se le conceda libertad provisional, así que voy a ordenar libertad provisional directa.
Your Honor, although the charge does qualify for direct PTR, in this situation, Mr. Rios Diaz is transient, and he has no phone, and it would be very difficult for him to comply with our conditions. Would you consider ROR in this stead?
Su señoría, yo sé que esta situación calificaría para que le diera libertad provisional directa, pero en este caso el señor Ríos Díaz es ambulante, no tiene un teléfono, así que va a ser muy difícil para él cumplir con todas estas condiciones. ¿Estaría dispuesta su señoría a considerar que se le dé libertad bajo palabra?
Any objection by the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
Sin protesta de la fiscalía, no hay protesta.
I'll release you under ROR conditions with the condition that you not return to the Cypress Parkway shopping plaza in Kissimmee, Florida, where you've been trespassed from before.
Así que le voy a dar la libertad bajo palabra, pero con la condición de que usted no vuelva al centro comercial, la plaza que está en Cypress Parkway, en Kissimmee, donde usted anteriormente ya se le ha prohibido el paso.
You go to that Publix, you go to jail. You go through that parking lot, you go to jail.
Si usted va a ese Publix, se va a la cárcel. Si usted se va al estacionamiento, se va a la cárcel otra vez.
You may be seated.
Puede sentarse.
Jorge Zapata Pagan. So you're charged with one count of battery, felony battery or domestic battery by strangulation, and one count of hindering, delaying, or preventing communication to a law enforcement officer.
Señor Zapata, usted tiene dos cargos. Es un cargo de agresión física como delito grave, ya que hay estrangulación, y también por impedir que una persona establezca comunicación con la fuerza pública o las autoridades. Delito de tercer grado.
I do find there is probable cause for the charges.
Y he determinado que hay indicios de culpabilidad en estos cargos.
Pat, my notes indicate no contact with the alleged victim. Any update on that?
No, Your Honor.
Sin contacto, no hay contacto con la víctima. No, su señoría, no hay nada más.
All right, bond is set at $2,500 on count one, $1,000 on count two, with the condition that there be no contact with the alleged victim. If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis to gather your personal possessions in the presence of law enforcement, but you're to maintain separate residences.
Entonces, en el cargo número 1 se le otorga fianza de $2,500. En el cargo número 2 se le otorga fianza de $1,000. La condición que hay es que se le prohíbe todo tipo de contacto con la víctima señalada en el expediente. Si acaso viven juntos, se le permite que vuelva una sola vez para recoger sus efectos personales en compañía de las autoridades y después mantener residencia por separado.
You may be seated.
Puede sentarse.
Do we have any other cases or folks who haven't been addressed today?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then, it's been a pleasure.
You too, Your Honor. Take care.
To the interpreter, I'm going to go ahead and do I only have 1 or 2 Spanish cases in Orange today, so let's go ahead and do those so we can send you on your way.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I may have to call you back. I don't know if I can hang up with the jail and still leave you on.
No, normally the judges need to call back. That's right, Your Honor.
I'll call you back.
Thank you.
Let's go with Soliki Suarez Cruz. Are we still recording?
Morning again, Your Honor. Theodore Leal for the record.
Thank you. We're about to begin the Orange cases. Counsel, as indicated earlier, I'm appointing the Office of the Public Defender to represent everybody today at initial appearances, with the exception of anybody who has private counsel that actually appears. If you have a probable cause challenge, raise it as I call the case.
Oh, Your Honor, and the Orange County does have the use. They are able to use the headphones there for simultaneous interpreting.
I'm aware. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. Didn't know.
I like that, by the way.
Same here, Your Honor.
All right, Soleki Suarez Cruz. He should be hooked up.
Connected, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, sir. I have appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You're charged with violation of a domestic injunction prohibiting going within 1,500 feet of the protected person.
Yes.
Probable cause was previously found that you violated that domestic injunction. Can you find that for me, please? Hold on a second, sir.
Un momento, señor.
And I'm going to need it for the other.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull this one out and I'm gonna give it to John.
There's only one more I need, which is Garcia. All right. So pretrial, no contact with the victim?
Contact was made, Your Honor, but it doesn't indicate if she would attend court or not.
Okay. I'm gonna, okay. Thank you. So bond is set for this violation of a domestic injunction at $1,000. But did this arrest violate his conditions of release in 2021 MM 268? State or pretrial? I have one of those orange sheets, so my question is, did this violation of the injunction violate him from the same arrest a week earlier? Or are they the same? State.
Looking into it right now, Your Honor. Please give me a moment. Your Honor, just to confirm, it's going to be case number 21MM268.
Correct.
Thank you. Your Honor, unfortunately, with the information that I have in front of me, I can't advise as to that.
Pretrial, you gave me the
I
sheet.
believe it stems from the same date. Is the date on the warrant January the 11th? Because his last arrest was January the 11th, from what I'm seeing. So I don't believe he violated.
Then why did I get one of these orange sheets? Which,
I believe they go off of his last arrest. If he's out on bond and he comes back to jail, they automatically put in an out on
All right.
bond detainer.
well, then bond is set at $1,000. You're directed to have no contact with the alleged victim. You are directed to comply with the conditions of the injunction which is in place. If circumstances have changed, then the person who got that injunction has a way to ask that it be rescinded. But at this time, I'm not aware of any change in those circumstances. I am also ordering that you are not to go near, you are not to return to the location, which I believe is included within the scope of the injunction.
Yes, if you don't mind, I would like to say something.
I don't want you to say anything about this case because anything you say may be used against you. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. If you have any issues you want me to know about, you can talk with your lawyer. Otherwise, they will discuss this matter with you after this proceeding. All right?
Okay.
That's it. $1,000, no contact. Follow the terms of the injunction and do not return to the location where this occurred.
Okay. Thank you.
Judge, are you taking no action on the out on bond?
That's this case. That was my question. There is no out on bond on a different case. It's the same incident. I don't know why there's two case numbers, but I'm going to go with what I'm told. Secundino Garcia.
Be bonded, Your Honor.
Do we have any other Spanish interpreters that we need today? What is Spanish? Okay. Are there any other Spanish interpreters for in custody folks? All right, well, I'm going to call, I have one more, Mr. Interpreter, for the victim. Justin.
Very well, Your Honor.
Justin Calvin.
Your Honor, this Mr. Calvin has a case number. The interpreter cannot find him in the database.
2021. What is it? dash, what's the,
2021 MO.
oh, there it is. MO 94.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, just him. He's mental health, Your Honor. He's not going to be coming, but the victim wanted to speak.
Well, he's in mental health. Let me see these charges. Disorderly conduct. Okay. Counsel, are you going to waive the appearance of your client so we could go forward today, or do you want this reset?
Yes, I can waive his appearance, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to waive his appearance and proceed. Your client is charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. I've reviewed the charging affidavit, and I find probable cause for the charge. Before I address any conditions of release, could you please state your name and your relationship?
Sí, por favor, da su nombre, apellido y parentesco que tiene usted con el acusado.
Yamila Márquez,
Yamila Márquez.
soy la ex de Soleiki Suárez.
I am Solisky Suárez ex.
So you're the ex of Justin Calvin?
She said Suárez. Solisky Suárez.
Sí.
Thought we were doing Justin Calvin.
Yes.
Didn't we just do Saliki Suarez?
I don't think this case has a victim.
Can I have the paperwork? Okay, we are back on the record with Soliki Suarez Cruz. Has he already been taken downstairs?
No, ma'am.
All right.
So we're not doing Justin Calvin.
She's not here for him.
Right.
Do we have, let me ask you this, do we have a victim or a family member here for the Justin Calvin case?
No, ma'am. The one who says leave.
If any, can they hear me in the waiting room?
She can't hear you out there, but no, she told me that she was here for Justin Calvin, but she was actually here for the first guy, but she had been out there the whole time.
Well, how did she even get the name Justin Calvin if she's not here for him?
You know, she got it wrote on her paper, and I don't know.
Well, my concern, I know they can't hear you. Would you ask the deputy, please, if there's anybody here for Justin Calvin?
Yeah. No, ma'am, it's not.
All right, well, we need to recall Soliki Suarez so that she has an opportunity to be heard. Thank you. Let's put Justin Calvin back, wherever he wants to go. And I don't know, I'm not Garcia, I don't know where this goes.
That was the one.
Okay.
I'll put it up for you.
Ta-da. Is, all right. So we are recalling the case of Soliki Suarez Cruz. Unbeknownst to the court, there is a witness present that would like to be heard. Ma'am, can you hear the interpreter translate that?
No, Your Honor, the interpreter will need to do it over the speakers.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, please translate what I just said.
No sabía el tribunal que en el caso de Suárez Cruz Soliki había una persona que iba a dar testimonio, entonces por eso hemos llamado el caso de nuevo.
Sí, porque a mí me habían llamado que tenía que venir hoy.
Yeah, I received a call that I had to come today.
All right. I don't want to hear any specific facts about what happened that day, because anything you say can be used against Mr. Suarez Cruz.
Sí, yo no quiero que de momento usted diga nada específico en torno a lo que ha sucedido en este caso, lo que pasó ese día, porque todo lo que se diga aquí puede utilizarse en contra del señor Suárez Cruz.
I just want to confirm you are Yamila Marquez, the victim in this case, and the ex-wife, correct?
Y yo quiero nada más confirmar que usted es Yamila Vázquez, que usted es la ex y que usted es la víctima señalada en este caso, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
I have a couple questions for you.
Tengo un par de preguntas para usted.
Are you afraid of your ex-husband?
¿Usted le tiene temor a su ex esposo?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you want to have any contact with him?
¿Usted quiere tener cualquier tipo de contacto con él?
No.
No.
How long has your domestic injunction been in place?
Señora, ¿hace cuánto tiempo que se colocó esta orden de alejamiento?
Approximately.
Aproximadamente.
Bueno, desde la primera corte que fue, no me recuerdo bien, pero fue que tuvimos la primera corte.
Since we came to court the first time, I don't remember exactly the time when we had that first court hearing.
Okay. Within the last 2 weeks, have you made one or two calls to have your husband arrested?
Ahora, en las últimas 2 semanas, ¿usted ha hecho una o dos llamadas para que arrestaran a su esposo?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, let me rephrase my question. Have you called more than once?
¿Ha llamado usted más de una vez?
Sí.
Yes.
Were they on different days?
¿Fueron días diferentes?
Sí.
Yes.
Did both of these events occur at the same location, which I think is your work?
Y estos incidentes ocurrieron ambos en el mismo lugar, me parece que es en su trabajo.
En mi trabajo y en mi casa.
At my work and at my house.
Okay.
Your Honor, I am seeing the warrant actually is dated for January the 16th, and the warrant came out on the 17th. His last arrest was on January the 11th, so he is actually out on bond.
That's my take on it too, counsel, or ma'am. Thank you. All
Siempre
right.
estaba bajo fuera en fianza, su señoría. Aquí aparece que la última vez lo arrestaron fue el 11 de enero.
So I am going to amend my prior order addressing conditions of his release as follows.
Voy a modificar mi orden anterior y estas van a ser las condiciones de liberación como sigue.
For the new case,
El nuevo caso
The current case,
actual
your bond is raised to $2,500.
se sube su fianza a $2,500.
For the 2020 MM268 case,
Y por el caso 2020 MM268,
I'm revoking your bond. Oh, hold
Voy a
on.
revocar.
Hold on.
Oh,
He just
un
lost
momento.
you, apparently. Take off your headphones.
quítese.
We're going to listen to you through the, so for the current, for the 2021 MM268 case, the old case,
Por el caso 2021 MM268, el caso anterior, el antiguo,
I'm revoking your bond,
estoy revocándole la fianza,
forfeiting your bond.
le estoy quitando la fianza
I'll give you a new bond of $2,500.
y le voy a dar una nueva fianza de $2,500.
I'm ordering under both cases that you're to have no contact with the victim.
Y en ambos casos le estoy ordenando que no tenga ningún contacto con la víctima
Or
o
go within 1,500 feet of her at any location.
en cualquier lugar donde ella esté, no se puede acercar, tiene que mantener a distancia 1,500 pies.
Let me explain what no contact means, sir.
Señor, le voy a explicar en qué consiste la orden de no contacto, señor.
You can't see her. You
pero que ella
can't write.
tampoco se acerca a mí, aquella que me busca.
This
She's the one that looks for me.
this is not your time to talk.
No es su momento para hablar, señor.
No contact means you can't talk to her in person.
No contacto quiere decir que no puedo hablar con ella en persona.
You can't call her, text her, email her, FaceTime her.
No puede enviarle texto, no puede mandarle correo electrónico, no puede llamarla por FaceTime,
You can't call her family members or friends to relay messages.
no puede llamar ni familiares ni amigos para que le envíen mensajes a ella,
You can't stand across the street and yell at her.
no puede pararse al otro lado de la calle y gritarle a ella.
It means you go out of your way to avoid being anywhere near her. Do you understand?
Así que usted tiene que hacer todo lo que pueda para evitar el lugar donde ella esté. ¿Me entiende?
All right,
Correctamente.
that's all at this
Perfect.
time.
Esto es todo, Robert.
Thank you. Now,
Gracias.
thank you, ma'am.
Gracias, señora.
Do we need the Spanish interpreter for any other cases today? Or for any other victims? And I'm not seeing any hands. So with thanks to the interpreter, have a nice day, sir.
Very welcome, Your Honor. Always a pleasure.
This one? Do we have Bernardo Berra? Is that yours?
It's not mine. My client is in a wheelchair, but not that. not
Different
Mr. Barrow.
wheelchair. Okay, got it.
I was a little surprised. I'm like, how many wheelchair cases do we have this morning?
My understanding is your client is moved up, so let me just go ahead and take care of this gentleman. All right, Bernardo Vieira. Thank you. Sir, I've appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You're charged with 1 count of battery, unlawful touching, or striking. I need all these, the face sheets. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. However, you do qualify for PTR. So I'm going to release you under PTR conditions. All right? Thank you. Juan Valdez Castillo.
So, Your Honor, that's going to be a no contact for the defendant?
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss that?
Yes.
Yes, no contact. If they reside together, maintain separate residences, return one time in the presence of law enforcement. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we've got Juan Valdez Castillo. Sir, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine.
Yes, ma'am.
I've reviewed the charge against you. I find probable cause for the charge. You do not qualify for PTR, so bond is set at $1,000.
Ma'am, I have schizophrenia.
Talk to your lawyer off the record, and she can relay whatever information she believes is appropriate.
Your Honor, in this case, client has indicated he would like me to ask for ROR due to his mental health problems, and he receives SSI but doesn't have enough to make bond, and he would like to be released so that he can
Or court ordered to treatment if that's necessary.
we can't really do that. Okay. Do you send it
Yes, these are the two left in the Apocryphal Florida contingent.
He has an address that he resides at if he's released, and
I have some concerns about this one now that I'm looking at it more closely with regard to the report by PTR. Apparently, Mr. Valdez Castillo is subject to a guardianship. So he has a guardian, a full-time guardian, who only lets him stay there one night a week. And the guardian, according to this, doesn't know where he spends the rest of his time. I suppose that's a different issue. All other cases he's had in the past, of which there are few, have been dismissed based on capacity issues. Is there any objection to ROR?
There would not be, Your Honor, on the condition that he reside with the guardian at all times.
Does he have an address he can provide?
yes, he just told it to me. It's what was it? Can you just tell me?
Yes, 302
302
Bluff, like a gust of wind,
Bluff
Lane,
Lane,
Apopka, Florida,
Apopka, Florida.
32712.
I'll release you ROR. At
Okay,
this
thank
time.
you, Your Honor.
All right. How about Fernando Jaregouge? How do you say your name?
Fernando Jaregouge Jr.
All right, sir, you're here for trespass on property after warning. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge.
Excuse me, miss?
Doesn't qualify for PTR and doesn't have an address for ROR. Right, counsel? So bond is set at $250.
He says that he's going to contact his dad to help him find a place to live upon release.
Okay, well, bond is set at $250.
Okay.
We need the address before the release on ROR. Is that it for the move-ups?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry? Okay.
I don't know.
Valentina Spicoli. That's not yours, right? Sorry, we'll get to you. You got to sign the sheet, I guess, to be first in line.
Oh, sorry.
All right, who's coming in? We'll take whoever's coming in.
Right?
But I need a name. So I'm taking it, he's not Spicoli, he's either Johnson or German.
Whichever one.
What did you call him?
Valentina Spicoli.
What did you call him?
I'm taking whoever this person is.
No, this is Mr. Johnson.
This is Drake Johnson.
All right, Drake Johnson?
That's correct.
Drake Johnson.
Morning, Your Honor. Evan Self on behalf of Mr. Johnson.
Okay. How you doing, Mr. Self?
I'm well, thank you, Your Honor.
All
Nice
right.
to see you this morning.
So your client is charged with the following: possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, burglary of a structure, criminal mischief in an amount greater than $200 but less than $1,000, aggravated fleeing and attempting to elude a law enforcement officer with injury or property damage, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Are you making any probable cause challenges, counsel?
I am not, Your Honor. We're just asking that the court set bond in these cases. The firearm it's a constructive possession case. I'm not sure ultimately the state will actually even charge possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. I've never seen them actually do that. But we just ask the court set a reasonable bond. He has family that will assist him, but he cannot afford a super high bond if the court's inclined to grant such a bond.
What are you asking for?
Your Honor, I believe he can afford a $2,500 bond. He's retained, his mother's retained me. I've already filed my notices of appearance. We're sure that he'll make all future court appearances. He's 21 years old and has no prior convictions.
State?
We would have no objection, Your Honor.
Which of these is the
So theoretically, the aggravated fleeing and attempting to elude is a second-degree felony.
all right?
Out of all the charges, that one's the most likely to also stick.
I'm gonna have to go a little bit higher on that one, counsel, so I'm gonna set a bond on count 4, which is the aggravated fleeing, attempting to elude. I'm gonna go at $5,000 on that one. I'll go with $150 on each of the other felony counts, and $100 on the misdemeanor count, which is number 6.
Yeah, that'd be counts 3 and
And-
count 6 with $100.
Correct.
Counts
1,
1,
2,
1, 2, and 5 at $150, and count 4 at $5,000.
correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is the state asking for any other conditions?
Your Honor, we would not be at this time.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nice to see you this morning.
Have a nice day.
All right, Jay.
Who did I just give you? 102. Yeah. Okay. So now, did I do Spicoli already?
That should have been first, but I guess I wasn't sure.
That's what I thought. I gave you Spicoli stuff. Because I've only got German. Valentina Spicoli?
Yes.
Is that, okay. Just making sure we got the right case. All right. Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of child abuse. And I did find there was probable cause for the charge. Counsel, would you like to be heard on conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor. My client's only income right now currently is SSI. She would have a family member to live with upon release on recognizance. Who would you go to live with, Miss? Do you have her address?
604 Woodridge Drive, Fern Park.
Fern Park?
Fern Park, Florida.
Did you hear that, Your Honor?
I didn't, but I need pretrial release to hear it.
604 Woodridge Drive in
Okay.
Fern Park, Florida.
When they're giving addresses, are you taking them?
Yes, it's already in our system.
Okay,
Your Honor.
thank you. All right, bond is set at $1,000 with the directive that there be no contact with the child or the child's family.
Is that immediate family, Your Honor, as such as father and other children?
Yes, it's the immediate family, mom and dad. I think it's mom and dad, right? Let me double check. I'm also going to add the condition that she not act as a caregiver for anybody under the age of 18 as a condition of her release. My understanding is she's a caregiver in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can't do it, so no job involving taking care of minors. That's it.
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Tony German.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Could we get your appearance on the record, please?
Yes, Joseph Flynn on behalf of Tony German.
Thank you. And your client is charged with leaving the scene of a crash with property damage and DUI with property damage or personal injury. And I find probable cause for the charges. Do you want to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I would, first things first, on the leaving scene of the accident, I know there's probable cause, and we'll get to the point of that in the future, I think. She was within the same area of the accident at the time of the offense, which is how they found her on the scene. There is no personal injury that I'm aware of. It seems to be property damage. There was a minor damage to both vehicles, nothing significant, I would argue to the court. Your Honor, we would ask that bond be set in the amount of $500 on each case, and allow her to bond out.
All right, I'll do that. $500 bond on each count. With regard to the other cases,
And if I may be heard on that, Your Honor.
you may.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, there are two cases pending in Orange County. One is a improper exhibition of a firearm. Ms. German actually qualifies for pretrial diversion on that. However, we are awaiting what happens on the second case before we can put her into pretrial diversion. We just actually had pretrial last week on that matter. The issue that has come up on that case is they have not filed on the felony case. There is reasonable doubt that exists in our opinion. I've talked to the state attorney's office about it. There was for lack of a better term, a melee outside of a club, and it's alleged that Ms. German had hit a law enforcement officer with her shoe. However, from what I understand, the video shows a pretty massive sort of setup outside of a bar after hours, and it was not her. We believe it was not the intent of Ms. German to hit anybody with the shoe. She was just in an argument with several people. I would note that they have not filed formal charges yet on that case. Whether they are or not, that's still up in the air. So I would ask the court to not revoke or bond on either case at this point, knowing that, one, there was a potential resolution on the misdemeanor, and two, the second case is unfiled.
Any objection by the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'll take no action with regard to the two open cases at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Are we doing Justin Calvin next? All right, Justin Calvin. He'll be reset when available. Michael Forst.
He refused, Your Honor.
Is this his second or third refusal? Let's see, it looks like it's his second. No, the first was behavior. Counsel, you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is his third, it looks like. Okay. All right, your client is charged with providing false ID to law enforcement officer, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and defrauding and swindling the operator of a food or lodging establishment. I find probable cause on each of these. Let's start with the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Bond is set at $5,000. Providing false ID to a law enforcement officer. Bond is set at $500. And defrauding the innkeeper of more than $300. Bond is set at $500. And that is all. James Anthony Goodman. Anthony James Goodman. Okay, Mr. Goodman, you're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic violence, unlawful touching or striking. I have reviewed the charging or arrest affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000. No contact with the alleged victim. If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement to gather your personal possessions. 1,000. Roosevelt Hemphill. Roosevelt Hemphill. All right, ma'am, you are here based upon some out-of-county warrants. The first one is out of Flagler County. It is a warrant for burglary of a structure or conveyance, principal to larceny and criminal mischief. And your bond in that case was set by the issuing court in a total amount of $10,000. In the other case, it looks like there are 4 out-of-county warrants out of St. Johns County, Florida. The underlying warrant is for 2 counts of burglary of an unoccupied structure and 2 counts of grand theft. Bond was set in that case at $5,000 per count, so that's a total of $20,000. That's it. Steve Hidal Cososo. Gasosa. Sir, you're charged with carrying a concealed firearm. I've reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. You do not qualify for PTR. Bond is set at $2,500. Lionel Derek Kuntz. Sir, you're charged with the following: robbery with threat of a weapon and petty theft from a retail establishment. I've reviewed the arrest affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charges.
Racist.
Bond is set at $10,000 on count one, $100 on count two. You are ordered not to return to the Asha Food Mart located on West Jackson Street. Clarissa Martinez.
10,000, so 1,100, right? 1,100.
Ms. Martinez, you are charged with...
Your Honor, I would ask that we waive the reading of the charges for this.
All right, based upon your attorney's request, I will waive the reading of the charges. I need clarification on the first charge from the state. I need to know what level of felony that is.
One moment, Your Honor.
Is it second degree? First degree? Or anybody else? I've found it. It's a life felony. Thank you. Probable cause was previously found for the charges pursuant to the arrest warrant that was issued by the issuing judge. I'm going to leave bond at 0 on count 1. I'm going to leave it at $15,000 on count 2 and $5,000 on count 3. Chavado Mason.
Be refused, Your Honor.
This is his second refusal. Counsel, do you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're going to go forward with the Chavado Mason case. He's charged with grand theft third degree of a motor vehicle. There is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000.
Your Honor, he may need to be reset for a later date to be advised of his immigration detainer. Is that correct, clerk?
Is there an immigration detainer on him?
Yeah, there's an immigration, what he needs to be reset.
Well, I'm going to advise his attorney that there is an immigration detainer on him, so I think he's been advised at this point.
Okay.
He doesn't need to be reset.
Oh.
So I do have a note indicating that there's an immigration detainer for him. Okay. Michael Morales.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with the following. Assault on a law enforcement officer.
Truly sorry for that. I'm sorry.
I've appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. Please don't say anything without talking to your lawyer. Anything you say can be used against you. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $2,500.
Any action on his out on bond, Your Honor?
I don't have a note that he's out on bond. I don't have a yellow paper. Do I?
Because the case is reset, it won't have the gold form.
It won't have the gold form? Okay, hold on. Is he still here?
Need it back?
Yep.
Mr. Morales, come back 1 minute.
All right, you're currently out on bond for $500 on a DUI. I'm going to take no action on that bond at this time. Guillermo Ortiz Pavon.
He's medical, Your Honor.
He'll be reset when available. David Steger.
Yes.
So you're charged with 1 count of petty theft from a retail establishment and trespass on property after warning. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500 on the trespass after warning count, $100 on the petty theft count, and you're ordered not to return to the scratch market. And that is all. Is there, let me know if he's out on bond, because I'm only looking for those gold papers.
No, Your Honor, he's not on bond.
Okay, thank you. That's it, sir.
It's 5 and 100.
500 and 100, yes, sir. Eddie Houston. So you're charged with aggravated battery on a pregnant person and battery domestic violence. I find probable cause for the charges. Your bond is set at $2,500 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2. You're ordered to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis to gather your personal possessions in the presence of law enforcement. You're to maintain separate residences. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Hold on a second. What? So that takes care of the one. This one? Okay. As it relates to 2020 CF 1531, one of the conditions of your release is that you not pick up any new charges. You picked up new charges, that violates the conditions of your bonds. I'm revoking your bonds. Stand by. Yes. Okay. So I'm revoking your bonds in that case. I'm also need to advise you of another new case. You are also here and charged with the following: possession of methamphetamine with intent, possession of meth with a weapon, possession of MDMA ecstasy, possession of cocaine, possession of hydrocodone, that being Lorcet or Vicodin, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm with the serial number removed. I find probable cause for those charges as well. Bond is set as follows. Count 1, $15,000. Count 2, $1,000. Count 3, $1,000. Count 4, $1,000. Count 5, $1,000. Count 6, $2,500. Count 7, $1,000. Count 8, $1,000.
He has one more count, Your Honor.
Count 9, where?
A possession of cannabis, less than 20.
$100. Thank you. I don't see that on this paperwork. It is. It's all the way at the top. Thank you. I think we've covered everything for you, sir. John Crea, or Creed?
Craig.
All right.
One moment.
I was asking if you heard his hearing.
Very loud. It's very loud. Oh, I can hear now. Yeah, thank you.
If at any time you cannot hear me, please let your attorney know or signal me. Either one, okay? Just let us know.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sir, you are charged with violation of the condition of your pretrial release.
Yes.
And I need to let you know that I did appoint an attorney to represent you, so make sure you talk with your attorney before you say anything to the court, because anything you say can and will be used against you. So you're charged with violation of your pretrial release. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000. By picking up a new charge, however, that violates your pretrial release in 2020 CF 13185. Accordingly, I'm going to find that the conditions of your... Hold on. Why am I violating him twice for the same thing?
Thank you.
He was arrested for violation of his pretrial release. Is this a different PTR?
No, it's in reference to the same case. His pretrial conditions were for the case that he's out on
All right.
bond for.
All right. Well, then that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to set a $1,000 bond.
So there's just a $1,000 bond.
Correct.
For this?
May I speak to?
Put your mask on.
Oh, sorry.
Don't ever take it off.
Thank you.
So the $1,000 bond.
So no action on the out on bond, Your Honor?
Correct.
It's best not to say anything. Why she would like me to know?
Yeah, no contact.
Right, I know that. May I say something to the court?
No, you can talk to your lawyer and she can tell me
Okay.
after muting your microphone.
How do I do that?
So what do you want to say to your lawyer?
The reason that this happened, they said it may have been a mistake, because I'm talking with the man. He's an officer Atkins. I'm the one that's disabled. And this is from August. I just have to get my personal stuff from there, if I have time to do that. then I
Your
said,
Honor, may
"Oh."
he return with law enforcement to retrieve personal items at this
He
location?
may, on a one-time basis, in the
Right.
presence of law enforcement,
And-
return to gather his personal possessions.
Thank you, and a time, like, not like 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, the ample because of my condition. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Keep it together, sign here. Come on.
It's just a no contest.
Okay, so just sign this. I can't see it, so I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, you're good. Okay.
Thank you.
$100 to get out.
All right.
That way. Okay.
$100. Call bond, $100.
Michelle Flanagan. Ms. Flanagan, you're charged with one count of battery, domestic in nature. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charge. Before I set any conditions of release, we have somebody here. Sir, would you state your name, please, and tell me your relationship with Ms. Flanagan?
My name's Dennis DeMore, and we have been, she's my girlfriend. We've been together for about 3 years. I'm sorry.
All right, and you're the alleged victim in this case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want you to tell me what happened. Anything you say can be used against her in a future proceeding. I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you afraid of her?
No, ma'am.
Do you currently reside together?
Yes, we do.
Do you want her to come back to the home?
I'm sorry?
Do you want her to come back to the
Yes,
home?
I would like to appeal to the court to release her on her own
Louder,
recognizance.
I'm sorry. You got to speak louder and right on that mic.
I would like to appeal to the court to have her released on her own recognizance to her financial situation.
Well, she does qualify for PTR. What says the state with regard to ROR?
The state wouldn't have an objection on the condition that there be no alcohol as a condition of her release on recognizance.
Yes.
So you think you can do that?
I
No
know I
alcohol as a condition of your ROR?
I know I can.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I'm going to release you ROR with the following conditions. There's to be no hostile contact with Dennis Demores, and you are to drink no alcohol.
So
Do you understand that if you drink alcohol, you're going to be in jail because just the drinking of alcohol is going to violate you?
I understand that.
Okay.
Can I go home then, you're saying?
I'm sorry?
I can go home?
As soon as they process the paperwork, yes.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for kind consideration.
Alexander Gross.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic in nature. I've reviewed the charging affidavit.
Yes.
I find there's probable cause for the charge. You qualify for release under PTR conditions, so I'm going to order that with the stipulation that there be no contact with the alleged victim. If you reside together, you may return on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement to gather your personal possessions. And I think the victim in this case is the one that's moved out. Is that correct?
Yeah, she
All
has
right.
her own place.
Good enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sheila Heath. Ms. Heath, you're charged with 1 count of battery, touching, unlawful touching, or striking. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Before I set your conditions of release, let me hear from the gentleman in the box. Sir, what is your name? And you need to speak close to that mic and nice and loud.
Zachary.
What is your name?
Zachary.
Loud. Shout it.
Zachary.
Zachary. Full name. What's your last name?
Wims. Wymes.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the victim in this case?
Yes.
Are you afraid of Miss Heath?
No, ma'am.
Do you want her to return to the home?
So very much.
Would you have any hesitancy calling 911 if she were to become violent? Would you
I
call
really-
911 if you needed to?
If I need her to,
No. If you felt she were to become violent, would you call 911?
no, ma'am. She's never done that. She's never been violent in her. I don't even understand what happened. There must have been something in the food at McDonald's or something. She's never done a thing in her life. Ever.
She's got absolutely no history, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any objection to ROR in this one?
There wouldn't be, Your Honor, on the condition that there be no hostile contact with the victim or any member of the family.
The immediate family.
Immediate family, Your Honor.
All right, I can do that. So no hostile contact with the victim or any member of the immediate family. Otherwise, I am going to release you ROR on this case. All right?
Okay, I just didn't hear. Thank you. I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't hear you. She was explaining.
She can do that. So
Okay,
she's
thank you.
explained you're going to be released on your own recognizance, and you can't have any hostile contact with the victim or any immediate member of your family. In other words, you're going to have to turn and walk away, not get angry at anybody, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Take up meditation or something to figure that out.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tyreke Johnson. Say again? Medical?
No, ma'am. Behavior.
Behavior, okay. I'll be glad when we don't have to wear these masks. We'll reset them when available. How about Denise Kennedy?
Hi, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're here based upon a charge of battery, domestic violence. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. You qualify for PTR. I'm releasing you under PTR conditions.
So there's no contact, Your Honor?
Yes, no contact with the alleged victim. I'm so excited to see PTR that I forget about no contact. So, let's put a couple conditions on this one. No contact. No alcohol as a
Yes,
condition
ma'am.
of your release. Drink alcohol, you violate, you'll be right back here.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Terry Maroney.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with one count of battery, dating violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000. You're to not have any contact with the alleged victim in this case. Maintain separate residences. If you need to return to the residence to gather your personal possessions, you may do so on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement.
Okay.
Your Honor, may the state be heard?
Sorry?
May the state be heard on this, Your Honor?
Yes, hold on. Yes.
Sorry, we would just like to ask for no alcohol because this incident did appear to be have alcohol as a significant part of the incident. Sorry, Your Honor. I could direct Your Honor's
I
attention to
found
the
it.
last
I
sentence.
found it.
Yes.
I'm going to also require that there be no alcohol as a condition of your release. Sir, do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
Drink
Your Honor.
alcohol, get arrested?
Come right back. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, come right
Your
back here.
Honor,
Yes.
I would like to ask for ROR on this charge. Client has an do you have an address he'll reside at?
Yes, yes, I do.
Client has an address he'll reside at
have
and
a job.
Okay.
I'm gonna lose my job if I stay in here. I have child support and everything.
He can't afford bond, but he will maintain contact with his attorney and appear at all future court dates.
Louder, counsel. Closer to the mic and louder.
Oh, he will maintain contact with his attorney and appear at all future court dates. And again, he has an address he can provide to the court.
Yes, ma'am.
So you want ROR in lieu of the $1,000 bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can he afford the $250 bond if I were to do $250 with a PTR?
I have no money until I go back to work.
Fair enough.
I have a solid
I'm gonna
job.
release you ROR under these circumstances.
Thank you,
All right?
ma'am.
Don't want you to lose your job on top of everything else.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Kelly Robinson. Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of domestic battery. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Before I set the conditions of your release, sir, what is your name and your relationship to
My name is Willie
Ms.
Robinson.
Robinson?
Willie Robinson. I'm her husband.
Are you also the victim in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you afraid of your wife?
No, ma'am.
Do you want her to come home with you?
Yes, ma'am.
I see you called 911 in this situation. If need be, would you call 911 again?
If
If you
need
felt-
be.
If you felt it was necessary?
If need be.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to release her under PTR, which she qualifies for, with the condition that there be no hostile contact with the alleged victim in this case. Thank you, sir. Princess Scott. All right. Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic in nature, and 1 count of battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000 on each count. I'm going to make it $1,000 on count 1, and is it misdemeanor battery on count 2? State?
It appears to be, Your Honor.
And $100 on count 2, so it'll be a total of $1,100 with the criteria that there be no contact with the victim. And that'll do it. Thank you. Alyssa Villalba, or Viaba.
Yes.
Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of battery, dating violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. I'm releasing you under PTR conditions. You're to have no contact with the alleged victim. Justice Augustin, or Augustin. You're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Probable cause was previously found, and your bond was set at $2,500. You're also to have no contact directly with the victim, any co-defendant or witness. You're not to return to the scene, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. This new charge, however, also violates the conditions of your bonds in 2020 CF 1368. The underlying charges in that case are robbery with a firearm, burglary of a dwelling with an assault or a battery, another count of robbery of a with a firearm, and fraudulent use of a credit card. Accordingly, I'm revoking the bonds in that case, ordering that they be forfeited. Based on the new law offense. I'm not setting new bonds at this time. Thank you. James Garcia. Mr. Garcia, you're here for charges of burglary of a conveyance, grand theft, third degree, and criminal mischief. I've reviewed the arrest affidavit. I find, hold on. All right, we'll just take them one at a time because it looks like you got a lot. So, with regard to those three, I find probable cause. Your bonds are set as follows: $3,500 on count 1, $150 on count 2, and $100 on count 3. You're also here pursuant to a warrant issued out of Seminole County. The underlying charge is a driver's while license suspended count. Your bond in that case was set in Seminole County at $5,000. You're also here on a charge of dealing in stolen property, initiating. I find probable cause for that charge. Your bond is set at $5,000. And last but not least, you're here on another case wherein you were charged with burglary of a conveyance, grand theft, third degree, and criminal mischief. Probable cause was found by the issuing judge in that case. Bonds were set at $3,500, $150, and $150, where they will remain. Did I miss anything, folks, on this one?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Tokara Gordon. You're charged with attempted arson, possession of a firearm, a firebomb, resisting an officer without violence, and trespass in a dwelling after warning. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set as follows. Attempted arson. State, what's the level on that? Is that an F3?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Could you confirm?
I can double check to confirm
I would
it for
appreciate
you.
that.
I believe it is.
806.031.
If it's charged under subsection 1, it's a misdemeanor of the first degree. If it's charged under subsection 2, it's a felony of the second. I think, Your Honor, based on this, it's going to be charged under subsection 2, which makes this a felony of the second degree.
It was charged under subsection 2, 806.031.2.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
All
So
right,
this
so-
will be a felony of the second degree.
All right. Well, then, bond is set as follows. $3,500 on count 1. $1,000 on count 2. $500 on count 3, and $100 on count 4. You are ordered not to return to the dwelling where you were trespassed. And that is all. Marquise Green.
His behavior, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll reset when available. Isaiah Jones. Mr. Jones, you're charged with possession of cannabis in an amount greater than 20 grams and possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause for the charges. You do qualify for PTR. Any objection by the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
I will release you under PTR conditions. And that is to include, well, we'll just do with the standard PTR conditions. Demetrius Carey. Sir, you're charged with criminal mischief as a subsequent offender. I've reviewed the charge. I find there's probable cause. Bond is set at $1,000. You've got a number of open cases. One of the conditions in those cases is that you not pick up any new charges.
Who, me?
I am Does the state want to be heard about those open cases?
Your Honor, I don't seem to have anything in front of me regarding those cases, and so at this time, the state would have no input. Are you asking if perhaps the state would be inclined towards revoking and reinstating?
Yes, I am.
In that case, Your Honor, the state would recommend that we revoke and reinstate on the prior case, Your Honor.
Pretrial release, can you tell me on case number 2020 CF 12285, what were the conditions of his release on December 15 of 2020? Was he released pretrial PTR or bond?
I'm going to check, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, I believe that this client has been determined to be incompetent on at least one. He's been adjudicated. The two others, it looks like it's currently being litigated.
Thank you, counsel.
Which is correct, Your Honor. He was released on that case through a court order to be found incompetent to proceed and placed on conditional release.
And one of the conditions of that release is that he not pick up new charges?
That he will reside with his mother and sister at his address. He will attend all appointments at expire.
All right.
And not commit any new law violations. Or not possess any or use any firearms or weapons. And have no contact with any alleged victims in the case.
And can you tell me if the victims in that case are the same as the one in this case? And the one in this case is James Blount, B-L-O-U-N-T.
No, the victims in that case, the 2020 CF 12285 is Donna Blake and Chantal Kelly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So he's conditionally released. I'm going to take no action on the open cases. Chad Kilhefner. Sir, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000.
Your Honor, we would ask for ROR on this. Client has an address he will reside at upon release.
Well, by picking up this new charge, he violates his ROR conditions in 2020 CF 1104, which is possession of heroin and possession of synthetic cannabis. state, what's your position?
The state would object based on the fact that the defendant here is already out on ROR.
I'm not going to give him ROR, counsel. So I will set the bond at $1,000 on this case. And I'm going to revoke the bond, I'm going to revoke the ROR on the others. But I will give him a bond in that case as well of $1,000 and $150.
Your Honor, on the Anam bond case, he will only need one bond because they only filed on the possession of heroin charge
All
and
right.
took no action on the possession of synthetic.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll just do the $1,000 on the possession of heroin. Thank you. Tarquin Linton. Sir, you're charged with attempted arson, possession of a firearm, resisting an officer without violence, and trespass in dwelling after warning. I find probable cause for each of those charges. Your bonds are set at $3,500 on count one, $1,000 on count two. What did I do for the other one? Same as I did on the other one. 3,500, 1,000. I believe it was 500 and 100. Is that what I did? That's correct. Okay. You're also ordered not to return to the dwelling location identified in count 4. However, you also have a warrant out for failure to appear that was issued out of, looks like Orange County. Underlying charges were possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, carrying a concealed weapon by a convicted felon, possession of cocaine, resisting an officer without violence. The warrant set your bond at 0 on each count. These were all failures to appear. And I'm going to leave the bond as set by the issuing judge. Sedano Martino. Sir, you're charged with criminal mischief in an amount greater than $1,000. I've reviewed the affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. You do not qualify for pretrial release. And you have a number of conveyances, so I'm not convictions, so I'm not inclined to release you ROR. So your bond is set at $1,000. Robert Morris.
He's mental health, Your Honor.
He'll be recalled when available. John Pemberton.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine. I reviewed the affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Your bond is set at $1,000. And I won't entertain an ROR argument on this one. Chalin Rivera.
He bonded, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ramiro Sanchez. Sir, you're charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. I've reviewed the affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. But so did my colleague who issued the warrant. So, pursuant to the warrant that was issued, the bond was set at $7,500, along with the conditions that you're not to possess or consume any alcohol, illegal drugs, or controlled substances without a valid prescription, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. And that is all.
Ma'am, Your Honor,
I'm not going to modify the bond. Quadale Say, or CA. Okay, you're charged with possession of a weapon by a convicted felon and possession of a concealed weapon and resisting an officer without violence. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $4,000 on count 1, $500 on count 2, $500 on count 3. You're ordered not to possess any weapons as a condition of your release. And that is all. We've got Tyshona Smith.
She's mental health, Your Honor.
Reset when available. Anthony Bull.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with DUI, having an unlawful blood alcohol, and being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I find probable cause for the charge. I'm releasing you under PTR conditions, imposing the requirement that there be no alcohol as a condition of your release, and you'll be subject to random urinalysis through PTR.
Yes, ma'am.
We suddenly diverge. I've got Benson Francois, and here's Mark Gerald. Did I give you two of somebody?
Yes, I was going to suggest that.
And this is Gerald. All right, so I don't have one of these for him.
You have to ask pretrial release if they have.
Do you have a pretrial release? Do you have a sheet for Benson Francois?
I don't, Your Honor. You have an inmate number?
Inmate number is 21001409.
He bonded, Your Honor.
Okay,
This is Mark Gerald, Your Honor.
thank you. So, Mark Gerald.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with failure to appear for a status hearing in a underlying CT case of driving while license was suspended, and the issuing judge set your bond at $500.
Your Honor, I don't know if the state would entertain if a client could enter a plea today to this charge.
I don't know that I'm going to. Stand by. I'm not going, this is a failure to appear. I'm not going to entertain a plea.
Okay.
All right? Carol Davis.
She's medical, Your Honor.
She'll be recalled, or he'll be recalled. Joseph Inga.
Okay.
Joseph Inga?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, Your Honor.
Sir, you're here on a charge of petty theft. I
Yes, Your
reviewed the
Honor.
charging affidavit. I find that there's, or the arrest affidavit, I find that there's probable cause for the charge. qualifies for PTR, but he also has no history. Is there an objection to ROR?
Your Honor, there would not be.
I'm going to release you ROR.
Thank you, Your Honor. You got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Nickinson Monesteem.
That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, sir, you're charged with resisting an officer without violence. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. However, the new charge also violates the condition, violates your bond in 2020 CF 13278. I'm revoking your bond in that case, but I will give you a new one and double the amount of the original. I believe the original was $3,500, so it'll be $7,000. Orlando Rodriguez. So you're charged with 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the charging affidavit, or the arrest warrant. There is, the arrest affidavit, rather. There is probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $500 on count 1 and $100 on count 2.
Any action on the out on bond, Your Honor?
I'll take no action on the out on bond.
Your Honor, would you entertain an ROR on this?
State what's your position.
One moment, Your Honor.
I might.
Your Honor, the state wouldn't have an objection.
Okay. I will release some ROR on these 2 new counts. And I'm taking no action on the out on bond. Antoine Jones. Sir, you're here pursuant to an out-of-county warrant. Specifically, it is out of Levi County for a failure to appear. Underlying case is a larceny, petty theft, second conviction case. That case gave you a $2,000 bond. Lisa Smith.
Okay.
Your Honor, we would ask that you waive reading of the charges for this case.
Please.
Of the underlying charges? Okay. So Lisa Smith. Are there 2 VOP cases?
Thank you. Because if they can settle
Orange County, a traffic charge, and then an on-view DOP for Marion County, Marion County.
Okay. All right, ma'am, you are here on a new charge called driving while license suspended.
Yes, ma'am.
I find probable cause for the charge, and your bond in that case is set at $500. You are also here on 2 violation of probation counts, one out of Marion County, and one out of, where's the other one?
That's Orange County.
You got a new
Orange
charge that
County.
violated the probation.
And your bonds in each of those were set at 0. So I'm going to leave them there. No bond.
Your Honor, can you please advise the defendant that she has reporting requirements when she's released?
Ma'am?
Yes. Upon release, there are reporting requirements that you have to comply with. If you have any questions, talk to your lawyer. Terrell Couch.
Behavior, Your Honor.
Reset when available. Mercedes Lewis.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
You're charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charge. Is the defense interested in an offer from the state at this time?
Your Honor, we would ask for ROR on this.
Transient, no address. Will she qualify?
She says she has one. She has an address on International Drive. She lives in New York, but she's here visiting a friend who lives on International Drive, and she has a permanent address in New York.
Any objection by the state?
Sorry, I'm just confused. So she has a personal address, a permanent address here in Orange County?
She is here visiting. She has a permanent address in New York. She's residing with a friend whose address is on International Drive.
Your Honor, I would be hesitant to offer ROR on someone who isn't local and doesn't have a permanent address. So at this time, the state would object.
She has 0 history.
And Your Honor, I don't have any history in front of me, so I couldn't determine at this time.
She says she doesn't plan on going back to New York. She plans on staying here. She's looking for apartments.
Let me hear from pretrial release, because my notes indicate she is transient and stays at various hotels.
Yes. She was just interviewed a couple of hours before court. The representative who interviewed her stated that she's staying at the Red Roof Hotel, but she doesn't have a permanent address. She's only been here for a couple of weeks in Florida. We made no contact with her emergency contact. No email, and unemployed.
I'll release her ROR, providing she can provide the appropriate address to,
I can do that
for that, on that basis, given the fact that she has 0 history, criminal history of any type.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Your Honor.
I don't have any more.
It's the Albanian interpreter.
Oh, okay.
Well, did you find one? I'm trying.
Okay. All right, last but not least, we have Bashkim Haksa. Sir, do you speak any English?
Do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
We are
I
trying
don't
to
speak very well,
find,
but I speak.
we are trying to find an Albanian interpreter for you. Would you like an interpreter, or would you
No,
like
I
to
can
proceed?
talk, you know.
All right. If you don't understand what I am saying, let me know. I'm going to speak a little more slowly, so hopefully that will help. I would ask everybody else to do the same.
Okay,
Did
thank
you understand what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
If at any time you are not understanding what I am saying, I want you to raise your hand and signal me so that I can make sure that you understand the charges that have been filed against you.
Okay.
Fair?
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, I just
All right.
understand.
Everything you say is being recorded, so I need to make sure that you're answering out loud.
Okay.
You're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic violence. Let me back up. I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. So the young lady next to you is your lawyer. She will represent you. You also have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you, so I would urge you not to talk about any specifics regarding this case. Did you understand what I just said?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. I find probable cause exists for this charge. However, you do qualify for pretrial release. Is there an objection to releasing him under PTR?
There is not, Your Honor.
All right. I will release you under PTR conditions to include no contact with the victim. I have a question. There was a woman that was here earlier.
Yes, ma'am. That was it.
Was that for this case?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to her?
She left.
Was she told that he wasn't being called?
No, ma'am. I told her he was going to be at the end because he said he needed an interpreter. And she said that he could speak English. And then she waited for a while, but then she just left.
Okay. Pretrial release. Have you had any contact with Mr. Haxa's mother or sister?
No, Your Honor.
And in this case, the victim is the wife? Is that correct, State?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. I'm releasing you again under pretrial release conditions. That means you will not have to post a monetary bond. I'm ordering that you may have no contact with the victim in this case, or any of the victims in this case.
Okay.
That might get changed down the road, but for now, because I don't have your wife here to testify, I'm ordering that there be no contact. You must maintain a separate residence. You may return on a one-time basis with a law enforcement officer or a police officer or somebody in a uniform to gather any personal items that you need. But you may not go back and live in the home without
Okay, no
getting
problem.
an order from the court letting you do that. Do you understand all of that?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So no contact, no return, except one time. I think that's it. Anything else, State?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right. And again, sir, Mr. Hoxa, did you understand everything I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Actually, I have a just question because I need to. Oh, I'm sorry.
So what she said is you can return one time, you can go
Yes.
law
Yeah.
enforcement to get all that stuff.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
That's it, Your Honor?
Okay.
That is it, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget your paper. All right.
Anybody left? Is that it? Done? All right. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
too, Your Honor.
He signed the no contact, well, so she was